The Dead Money DLC in Fallout New Vegas is renowned as one of the game's toughest challenges, alongside Lonesome Road. It introduces a unique gameplay style, emphasizing survival and resource management in an exceptionally hostile environment teeming with traps and enemies. The storyline and atmosphere of Dead Money are intense, contributing to its reputation as one of the most challenging expansions. Now onto the big question: can you beat Dead Money as a level 1 character? Let's outline the rules for this challenge. The game is set to very hard difficulty. Hardcore mode is enabled, and the most significant challenge, entering Dead Money as a level 1 character with 0 XP. Additionally, I've decided to not use the VAT system, as I think it makes the game too easy. My journey begins with waking up to Father Elijah's instructions. Elijah informs us that he's fitted me with an explosive collar that will detonate unless we follow his commands. The initial task is to locate 3 others and ultimately assist Elijah in gaining access to the Sierra Madre Casino. Now is the natural point to bring up the gimmicks of this DLC. The explosive collar around my neck will detonate if I stay too close to radios, signaled by the terrifying increased beep frequency, leading to instant death. It's like trying to dance to a radio tune, except the only dance move is the explode on command cha-cha. The airborne toxin, known as the Cloud, drains your HP bar rapidly, quicker than a contestant running for the bathroom after a chilly cook-off. Then there are the mutated ghost people, extremely tough to kill, requiring dismemberment, disintegration, or explosive means. Dealing with them is like trying to play hide and seek with a group of grizzly bears. They're fierce, they're relentless, and they'll find you no matter where you hide, because for some reason their perception is jacked up and often they spot you before you spot them. I headed over to the Villa police station, where Dog or God, depending on which personality is active, is locked inside a prison cell. I looked all over the police station for a key or some other means to free him, but to no avail. He will only submit to my plan of joining me back at the fountain after a long conversation where I had to convince him that I never killed his entire Nightkin family at the Repcon test facility in any playthrough I ever did of New Vegas. With Dog now on my side, I discovered his brutal combat capabilities. I made up my mind that he would make it all too easy if I kept him as my companion, and I dismissed him as soon as I reached the fountain. Next, I went over to the Villa residential area, eventually found Dean Domino and sat down for a friendly talk, only to be told he rigged my seat with explosive and will blast my ass off unless I play ball. After some sweet talking with my one single point in charisma, he agrees to go back to the fountain. Lastly, I went looking for Christine in the medical clinic, and that's when I rediscovered the origins of my childhood nightmares. These holograms are enemies that are invulnerable to any type of damage. They attack fast and can kill a level 2 pleb like myself in about 3 shots. The correct way to go about this is to find a terminal and reroute the hologram's patrol away from this floor so you can find a key located in one of the desks. Being traumatized in my childhood by this puzzle and remembering none of it, I had to painfully relearn all of this, and eventually I set Christine free from the autodock she was trapped in. As a side note, I'm not a huge fan of horror games, and my conclusion is either the Dead Money DLC is a very creepy game with a lot of scares, including Christine's relentless knocking on the inside walls of the autodock heard throughout the building, or I'm just a huge pussy. Comment down below which of the two you think it is. With all 4 of us back at the fountain, Father Elijah contacts us and commands us to get all the companions into positions for opening the Sierra Madre Casino, named the Gala event. I took Dean Domino with me and headed for Puesta del Sol south, where he has to stay put to connect the circuit. The next gimmick with this DLC is that all of these 3 companions each have reluctancies of being left for different reasons. Dean Domino is scared of the ghost people and will only agree to stay if you brutally threaten the coward to break his legs or set up 2 hologram patrols below his position that will help him take care of ghost people. This being a challenge video, I obviously went for the most painful experience of fixing the 2 holograms, and with them set up as protection, Dean willingly stays to do his part of the job. Next up is God. He is to be taken to the switching substation in Salida del Sol. You can always use the voice clip of Elijah, which will turn God into Dog, and then use the terminal computer to lock the gate, completing the quest, but giving the bad ending for Dog. This being a challenge video, I happily obliged to kill 2 ghost people and fetch him some food. With God set up, awaiting my signal, it's time for Christine. She needs to be escorted to Puesta del Sol switching station. Once there, she will use her computer skills to reroute the villa's power for the Gala event. To access the station, you must repair a fuse box with a skill of 60 or find 3 electric box fuses in Puesta del Sol. Despite not playing the DLC for years, finding the fuses wasn't all that challenging, and once inserted, power restored, I located the elevator elevator for Christine. However, after her ordeal in the autodock, she rightfully refused. Threatening her leads to a bad ending. With low skill points, I have no chance of hacking the terminal. Luckily, just before I gave up, I accidentally found the terminal password in a locker. She can now do what some of us did during the pandemic, working remote. With Christine ready, I proceeded to Salida del Sol, fighting my way through ghost people to get to the courtyard to a tower with a magnificent view over the casino. I triggered the gala event, and it seems this little fireworks show woke up all the ghost people as the way back was crawling with enemies. This is the point where my bad resource management really kicked my ass. Ammunition in this DLC is scarce and few and far in between, and the weapon selection is very limited. I had no choice but to proceed just like I do in real life, ignoring and running away from all my problems. With the gala event triggered, it was finally time to run into the casino. Just after getting inside the door, my character with its broken legs decided it was time for a quick nap before continuing the journey. Before you can reach any of the other sections of the casino and resort, I had to restore the power by flipping the switch inside an electrical room. Elijah will tap into your Pip-Boy, telling you to deal with all the companions before you can move into the final quest of the DLC. After a lot more aimless wandering, I found a key that opened the door to the Cantina Madrid kitchen. When I first got there, Dog detected me and set off his collar, igniting the gas, thus ending our lives. There's several ways to deal with Dog, but this is the first letdown of this challenge. I assume since I fetched food for him earlier and never activated Father Elijah's bipolar personality voice record, that even I with my 1 point in charisma could smooth talk him out of this pickle and move on with our days. No, said the game, you need to pass a speech check of 85 to merge his personalities together, thus giving the good ending for Dog. Without nearly enough speech points, I convinced him to jerk his chain and take the floor room temperature challenge. Dog succeeded in his challenge, but I had failed in mine, or so it felt. I had no intention of getting the good ending when I started recording, but I couldn't help the hopeless feeling when I had to abandon trying to save Dog. Well, moving on, with the gas valves turned off, I headed out to look for Christine. After entering the executive suites, I saw it again, my childhood nightmares right in front of me. These holograms are talking in the voice of a distressed Vera Keys. You see, the days the bomb fell 200 years ago, the casino security system kicked in, locked all the doors and triggered the holograms, which killed all the guests, unlocking Vera Keys in her room. Her last words were recorded and used by the holograms, as I believe the security system was designed to take on the form of whoever broke into the vault and subsequently locking themselves in, ending their life as a last up yours from the designer, Frederick Sinclair. Reaching Christine, her voice box has now healed since the surgery, and she will explain her story. If you didn't force her down the elevator earlier, she will hand over Vera's keys. She's fine to stay here, and I think this gives the good ending for Christine. Next is the curtain call at the Tampico. Trying to reach Dean Domino without having ammo to shoot out the speakers is like playing on extra hard mode. I died countless times trying to find save spots where my collar wouldn't go off. After locating one in a corner and at the end of the hallway, I eventually figured out how to open the door and get to talk a last time with Dean. Me having been so nice to him earlier, setting up the holograms to protect him, I proceeded to not insult his ego, and he allowed me to walk freely, finishing my work. After having dealt with all the companions, I reached the penultimate quest, Heist of the Centuries. Christine unlocked the elevator down to the vault by using her new vocal cords. The maze that awaited me was just as bad as trying to find a clean bathroom in a raider-infested settlement. I eventually reached the vault, spoke to Elijah through the intercom. On my first attempt, I failed navigating the dialogue options and ended up staying here forever, dying a painful death of dehydration. The second time around, I convinced Elijah to come down through the elevator. Having left Christine alive, she helped me disable the laser turrets, and when I had a clear shot, I opened fire on Father Elijah. With just a single attempt, Father Elijah kept missing his shots with the Gauss rifle, which ultimately cost him his life. I ran for my life and escaped the casino with the challenge completed. Subscribe if you want to see more. Comment what challenge you want me to do next, and like the video if you liked it.